Hello, everyone. My name is Joseph Song, and I'm a student at Whittier Christian High School in La Habra, California. So, what if I told you that autism isn't just a neurodevelopmental condition? What if I told you that autism is also a product of worldwide sociocultural inequities? That's the idea I want to explore, expanding beyond epigenetics and understanding neurological and mental disorders. So, the basis of this project was to systematically review existing research papers for the connection between autism and gender inequality. In other words, my hypothesis was that gender inequality is a contributing factor to the occurrence of autism. The inspiration behind this thesis was this study published in the Princeton Journal of Autism and Developmental Disorders. Here, they received 188 surveys from mothers of autistic children, 92 from mothers of children with Down syndrome, and 212 from the control group. Based on the responses of these surveys, they measured the number of stressors for each group in the y-axis and what stage of pregnancy they occurred on the x-axis. The results are pretty telling. There is a clear correlation between stress and the occurrence of autism in the infant, as seen with the disproportionate height of the black bar. But they define stressors as strictly isolated events, such as a divorce or a death of a loved one. I want to expand that definition to systemic social inequalities, like sexism. There was just one problem. There weren't any studies that directly analyzed the link between autism and gender inequity. Furthermore, simply looking at autism rates for each country risks confounding gender inequality with a country's socioeconomic status, as poorer countries often lack accurate autism diagnoses. So I created this flowchart. Gender inequality contributes to disproportionate impact in women's mental health, which in turn contributes to the frequency of autism. So when evaluating research papers, I looked into the links between gender inequality and women's mental health, and the links between mental health and autism. But then came another problem. Gender inequality is difficult to quantify under one definition because it primarily concerns qualitative data. So I decided to stick with the Gender Inequality Index by the United Nations. Here, they measure gender inequality under three criteria: health measured by maternal mortality ratio and adolescent birth rates, empowerment measured by access to education and the number of seats women hold in the government, and the labor market participation rates. With this definition, I reviewed papers concerning the links between women's mental health and each individual criteria. In almost every study I found, there was a correlation between mental health and these criteria. For instance, this study surveying 36,000 women from 23 European countries found that women consistently experience depression at a higher rate than men, although the extent of which varies from country to country. In the table shown on this slide, though, this study took that same data and controlled for various factors, such as household income and family circumstances, representing their effect on depression as a value. The higher it is, the greater the effect. Among these factors, identified is education, which is inversely correlated with the occurrence of depression. Interestingly enough, this effect, while present in both genders, is more profound in women at a value of negative 0.11 rather than negative 0.06. This may have to do with gender inequality against women, but this was only one of the studies that I did review, but it stands out. So the natural avenue to further explore the connection between gender inequality and autism is the mechanism behind this connection. However, that's rather difficult to do. The neurobiological mechanisms that give rise to autism are poorly understood. So it's impossible to definitively single out a gene or biological pathway. Among potential candidates, however, the NR3C1 gene stands out to me. It's heavily involved in the regulation of stress by modulating cortisol. And as stress has been established to be correlated with autism, this implies that NR3C1 could play a role in the neurobiological mechanisms in autism. Furthermore, the graph on the right establishes that NR3C1 has genetic properties too, as it investigates the correlation between exposure to depression, maternal depression, and NR3C1 methylation in the infant. Most notably, a statistically significant relationship between exposure to depression and NR3C1 methylation exists for male infants, which is the top one, group A, but not for female ones, which is group B. This means that if NR3C1 methylation contributes to the occurrence of autism, this would explain the graph on the left, which identifies a higher occurrence of autism among male infants and female infants, whether it's alone or with ADHD and other intellectual disabilities. More research is necessary to further explore the role of NR3C1 in the link between gender inequality and autism, but this is a good lead. And that's it. Thank you.